I guess I know it's like I go to Amazon to give you guys a movie review, which is based on a movie. It's called The Rules of Engagement. The Rules of is a game which I don't know if the movie was based on a true story. I'm not really actually 100% sure, so I really don't know. The actors and known who played this movie known as Tommy Lee Jones, who plays Hoggins, and the actor who is the actor who's played Terry Childress, known as Samuel Jackson, who is pretty famous for other different movies, kind of like Pulp Fiction and basically other different movies based in general. Now, this movie's basically kind of a little bit more similar to basically A Few Good Men, but I would personally will definitely say is personally a lot more different. But it does has its own different boundaries when you're basically comparing these movies basically between each other. They both have their own different style of an animal. Basically when it comes based in this movie. When you have like a Feel Good Man was I'm not really actually 100% sure if it what it really was based on a true story or not, or maybe it just occurred to events. Probably what happened. Probably it was based on a true story. I really do not know. All I do know, if you look at the Feel Good Men movie, there was two Marines where they were charged. They were charged with murder because of what they did, because they were given an order, because what they were supposed to do, to basically a code red means a code red means they're supposed to give an order because they were supposed to give an order to basically a code red means they have to revert that means they have to obey that, and that's what they have to do, and that's their job. That's what they're supposed to do because they didn't do anything wrong. Because this is the job. That's what they're supposed to do. Supposed to obligated. That's what they're supposed to do. And that's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. And even though they got two counts they didn't get proven not guilty. One account was basically acting as a Marine. In other words, basically, they got guilty for that, and they had to be de-armed. They had to be discharged from the military, which is very important and very unfortunate. It really actually is. But in putting in perspective, based on the situation between those two men, they're going to have a really hard time trying to find a job. They really are starting a business and stuff like that. Because when you get discharged from the military or whatever branch that you are, that's not a good situation. That's a really bad situation that can really lead you into, a lot of different areas that can be such great areas. It could pretty much damage you pretty much most of your career and stuff like that. It's not a good look. It's a really bad look and stuff like that. It just really actually is. But when you compare this movie basically to Rules of Engagement has its own different perspectives based when it comes to base of A Few Good Men. To be honest with you, I think both movies are very, very good. They have both different dialogues, and they're very, 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 very good. If you look at A Few Good Men, they do have some strong language. But in the Rules of the Game, wow, they really took out a lot of strong language. I mean, a lot of strong language and stuff like that. And when you have Tommy Lee Jones and Samuel Jackson plays in this movie, which I think that is a very good pair because based in this movie. So what is the Rules of Engagement movie is basically all about? Well, the rules of engagement in the movie is basically all about. It's all about Hoggins and also Terry Childress, which I can't remember. Hawkins' first name or something like that, or known as Tommy Lee Jones, who's played as Hawkins, and then you also have Samuel Jackson, who plays as Terry Childress, who's basically is a colonel, and then you also have Hawkins, who's basically is a colonel as well too. They both served in the military. They served into time back into the Vietnam War, back to basic back in there back into the past and stuff like that. When you look at Terry Childress is a full fledged Marine who doesn't show any remorse to anyone, then only but to himself. If you look at basically look at him, you basically go to the history that the military that he has gone through, you can understand that this man can snap really easily. He's a man that you don't want to cross the line because when you draw that red line, if he draws that red line right there, that's something you don't want to cross that red line. You cross that red line, and you really make him mad, he's gonna end up taking your life away. That's the problem. That's the problem with a person that's been through battles, has been through those situations. There are known people that has gone through those situations and stuff like that, and those are just the stimulus spaces and stuff like that. People do have mental illness because what happened brought up basically in the war and stuff like that. Mental illness can be brought into other different situations and stuff like that. It cannot be mentally basically due because of war or due because of other different family implications, or maybe some of the implications maybe because they can't personally cannot help each other and stuff like that. But when you have flashbacks and stuff like that, basically about the war is and stuff like that, that's trauma. That's a serious, severe trauma. It's flashbacks through the brain, and it can make you flashbacks through those memories and stuff like that. And it really actually is. War is a very terrible situation that I don't think nobody else want to be in for any vacation, and it really actually is stuff like that. When you've seen your fallen brothers and stuff like that, or your sisters, whoever it is, based in the military, that probably died in combat, or I would say KIA, which what that means is basically killed in action, or missing in action, which is MIA, missing in action, or NIA, which basically means, I think it's mean injured in action, or whatever that maybe is, stuff like that. The military has strict rules. They really do. They have strict rules. They're given commands that they're supposed to follow, chains of commands and stuff like that. Basically, what they're supposed to follow. Put people's lives in danger. That's what we do. We put people's lives in danger. If you think about what Colonel Jessup really as says back in the movie "All the Few Good Men," he makes a very good point because what he said, but what he says like, listen, son, we follow orders. That's what we're supposed to do. We put people's lives in danger. That's what we're supposed to do. Even though he's correct, he's right about what he says. That's what he's supposed to do. He has no other choice but to follow those commands, follow those chains of commands, to follow those orders. That's what he has to do. If he cannot follow those orders, then guess what? Then what's going to happen? He's probably going to be court-martialed, or probably they're probably just going to rip all the badges off of him and say like, "We're not going to have you in the military because you cannot follow this super rule, that super rule, or this super rule, or whatever it is, basically, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." And that can implication much more serious situations that can lead you in prison, maybe for the rest of your life, because you're not able to follow those obligations basically in the military. You have to understand, if you're registered in the military, if you're registered personally in the military, you have to make sure that you're on time, you're on duty, or whatever it is, stuff like that. To be honest, I don't know anything about the military. My dad was in the military. My dad was in the Navy. He's been in the Navy, I'd say like 22, 23 years, 24. I'm not 100% sure. He was the one of the last crew members on the ship on the USS Saratoga, which is basically an aircraft carrier. Saratoga's been around for numerous of years, and I mean years. I don't know what ship he was on. I think he was on the Iwo Jima also too. I'm not really actually sure. I do know that the Saratoga is retired. It's been sunk into the Gulf of Mexico. I think so, because they had to retire because the Saratoga, she's been through roughly a lot of wars. I mean, really a lot of wars, really a lot. I used to, back then when I was a kid, I was with my dad and stuff like that. Not like in the military, but on a Tiger cruise and stuff like that. A Tiger cruise where they take like like basically like father son, or maybe like father daughter, or mother or daughter or mother or son or something like that, whatever it is, and stuff like that. And it's a fun education. You get to go out to sea and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, I am will tell the truth. I was definitely on a ship with basically with my dad. Basically with my dad, where basically one of our ships were being under friendly fire. I remember that too because I was on the ship because we were doing a Tiger cruise and stuff like that, and one of our ships were being under friendly fire and stuff like that. So we had to personally to go somewhere else, so we wouldn't basically get hit and stuff like that and stuff like that. I don't recall if we did really actually get hit or anything like that. I can't really remember or anything like that. I can't really remember or anything like that. People will probably say, James, you're lying. You don't know that or anything like that. Trust me, to be honest with you, I was on that ship, and and that's basically what happened. And because I was with my dad during the time, like I said, when I was out in the military, I was just basically having a good time basically with my dad until basically that happened. But I want to personally want to say here is that when it comes basically in this movie, based rules of engagement, take as instance for Yemen. Yemen is basically it's a country. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going by what the base of the movie was basically saying. I'm not 100% sure if this is fact or this is true or really or not. I really do not know. I'm going by the base of what the movie basically was saying. Personally, to be honest with you, I think Yemen it's a country, it's an organization of terrorists. I don't know. Okay, so I'm just saying. So I don't want people to get upset with me because I'm making accusations or anything like that or whatever it is. I'm just going by what the movie's basically saying. That's all I'm just going by. But anyways, Terry Childers was supposed to get orders to basically go to Yemen and both to help to rescue the hostages, or I would say the rescue the people out of the U.S. embassy basically in Yemen, and their job is basically to do that. But however, they came under fire of snipers and other different people basically out there in the crowd also as well too. Were basically shooting basically out there. Now, to be honest with you, I can't really basically say like did they really have guns or did they really did not? I really don't know. Maybe that they did have guns, or maybe it's just a PTSD kind of a situation that probably that make him think like they're firing at them and stuff like that. Or I really don't know. It's hard for me to say. I can't really basically say if that's true or basically or not. I really don't know. All I do know is that basically the movie basically is subjectively basically saying like basically saying like, the crowd was firing at the Marines because basically Terry Childers gave a command order to his captain, tell him to waste the motherfuckers, which basically means take them all down and stuff like that. I don't mean to say that basically in the movie. I know my video will probably get demonetized in the near future, but I'm just using that as a reference for the line basically was said into the movie, not just for insult, but use as for representation for what basically was says into the movie. If you think about what Terry Childress says, because that's the order because that he was basically so right, basically what he said right there. The captain questioned his superior officer, which is something that you should never do. You should never question your superior officer. If you question your superior officer, you know what's going to happen. You know what's basically going to happen. They're probably going to strip you of your duties, and they're probably just going to say, "You are given a command. You are not supposed to hear to ask me questions. You are given a command. You're supposed to do your job. That's what you're supposed to do." So if the captain, I would personally say probably the second rank base in the platoon, that's what he's supposed to do. He has to make a direct order. That's what he has to do. If the excuse me. Anyways, um, if the colonel gives a direct order, he has to obey that order. If he does not obey that order, guess what? Guess what? Guess what? He could be stripped. He could be stripped of his services. He could be stripped of the services because that's what he's supposed to do. To be honest with you, I don't want people to really think that being in the military, it's not just all about just killing people or anything like that. It's a job that they have to do. In other words, were they trained to kill people? In a way, yes, they were trained to kill people, but not really based in a malicious way. Some people may think that they are. They're supposed to give it a duty that they're supposed to do, and they're supposed to do that. That's what they're supposed to do. If they're given a command or order or whatever that they're supposed to do, that's what they're supposed to. That's what they're supposed to do. That's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. If you think about what Colonel Jessup says back in the movie A Few Good Men, we put people, excuse me, we put people's lives in danger. That's what they do. That's what they're supposed to do. That's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to train them, and they're supposed to put them out there on the front lines, and that's what they're supposed to do. If they cannot do their job, and they cannot run from here for there or whatever it is, the basic stuff like that, then they'll probably say like, well, guess what? He's getting his ass beat, but it's out there because of the training and stuff like that, the methods that we're using him, and then what can we personally can do? If I was Colonel Jessup, if I was in that situation, I would have transferred her off to the base to basically somewhere else and just personally just basically say like, hey, maybe I should just dismiss him and just send him back home and say like he's not really showing any progress to be out there and being out there. Maybe he's not really providing what we really want to see. That's the risky business. That's the risky business and stuff like that. Going into boot camp and stuff like that, going into the military, it's not easy. It's not preschool. It's not elementary school. It's not middle school. It's not high school. It's not college. This is the real deal. This is the real deal. I mean, even though you're probably your sergeant or your colonel or your lieutenant, they'll probably say like, "Hey, we're about to go into battle, and this is a real deal, you guys. This is real. This is real as it gets. This is the situation that we have to go through, and this is the situation that we got to go through." So, but anyways, I think this movie is definitely it's a very good movie. I definitely think it really actually is. To be honest with you, I think the theme music based in this movie, it didn't really fit right to me. It just didn't really fit right. I expected more something a nostalgia based in any kind of way. That's what I definitely feel. The acting in the movie, it's good. It's not really that great. I would expect it to be a lot more better, than A Few Good Men. But I personally like Few Good Men more than Rules of Engagement. That's personally my opinion. That's what I definitely think. If I have to get rated for not Few Good Men, Rules of Engagement, I have to give it a 6 out of 10. That's just personally what it feels to me. I don't think this is not one of the strong suits based into the movie. That's just basically what I definitely think. A lot of people are going to disagree with me with this and stuff like that. I don't want people to really think that I hate this movie based on in any particular way. I expect the movie to be a little bit much more better and deterministics of the ways that I would expect an acting would be. It's very dramatic. That's a good thing, but very dramatic. It is a good thing, but I just think that the courtroom situation doesn't feel like it's really all that real. It doesn't feel like it's not really basically like the energy I'm seeing like when I look at from A Few Good Men to base of this and stuff like that. I wish they would pick better theme music based for this movie. That's personally, my opinion and stuff like that. But that's just personally what it feels to me. I definitely think A Few Good Men is a lot better, and personally my own perspective. But I don't want people to really think that I'm picking favorites or something because of Tom Cruise based in that movie, and Jack Nixon and Demi Moore. or anything like that. I don't want people to really think that. I happen to like Samuel L. Jackson and Tommy Lee Jones. They're wonderful actors. I just don't see this as a very strong suit base for them into the movie. The movie of the graphics of the movie, it is okay. Not really the greatest or anything like that. I could tell this is probably a low budget film. That's what I definitely do think, because stuff like that. I just think the acting was also kind of off as well too. It's just it really that feel that dialogue. I really definitely do want it. That's what I definitely do feel. That's personally, my opinion. Was this one of the weaker movies that I've seen compared to Feel Good Men? In a way, yes, I have to say so. But I would love to see maybe a second movie down the road. I'm not saying this movie's bad. I'm not saying I hate this movie, but I expect it to be something a little bit more better. That's what I expect to see. So I'm just gonna have to give it a 6 out of 10. That's just my opinion. And so yeah, anyways, that's it for this movie review. Movie review. Tell what you guys did. You guys like this movie? You guys don't like this movie? What are you guys' overall thoughts about the rules of the Engagement movie? Do you think it's a great movie? Do you think it's a lot better than A Few Good Men, or do you think A Few Good Men's a lot better than Rules of the Game? That's what I think. So yeah. Anyways, I know I'll see you guys later. Take care. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe. Please consider subscribing. Please like one, give me a thumbs up, or give me a thumbs up. It doesn't matter to me. I please it comes up. Anyways, I love you guys. Take care. Hope you got a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.